Okay, hi BookTube, Aaron here, hope you're doing okay. Today I'm carrying on with my library tour. So last time we were just here looking at a lot of history books and travel writing. I'm still very much in the land of non-fiction. So down below we're going down to a lot of biography and there's some sort of literary stuff as well. But on the whole I much prefer literary biographies, and that's where we're starting off at the moment. So to begin with, we've got Peter Ackroyd's biography of T.S. Eliot, which I really liked. I think I was kind of at my the height of my T.S. Eliot fandom when I was reading this, and so I just ate it up. So I really like this. I might give it another read in a few years' time as I've read and reread some more T.S. Eliot. But yeah, really enjoyed that. Then we've move some of the bits and bobs out of the way. One I'd really like to get to at some point. This is Radical Wordsworth by Jonathan Bate, who I've read a bit of before, so I know I like him on the page. And I've not read too much about Wordsworth, and I wonder whether there's a companion book to this coming out at some point about Wordsworth later in life. And then staying with Jonathan Bate, we've got Ted Hughes, The Unauthorized Life. Yeah, Ted Hughes is a poet I like and has a very, I think, very intriguing but controversial life. And I felt like Bates handled it really well. As I said, I like his voice on the page, found it really entertaining and insightful as well. There are anecdotes in here that I wasn't expecting to find. And then, kind of in a similar area, we've got Heather Clark's Red Comet, The Short and Blazing Art of Sylvia Plath, which again I really loved. I just really appreciated just how in depth and I suppose committed Heather Clark was to getting a really a really comprehensive look at Sylvia Plath's life, and so this is really up for a reread. I've been wanting to reread it for a while, but yeah, really good book. And then this is next to it, just as kind of a reference to that. Then this is just the journals of Sylvia Plath, and this is 1950 to 1962. So when she was a bit older. So as she's writing the books that we sort of know her for, towards the end there, that's when we're getting some of those entries. And then we've got Yeats. I did this did this last time as well. If I don't have the WB, I don't know what to say. WB Yeats, The Man and the Masks by Richard Ellman, which is a really interesting biography of W.B. Yeats, kind of looking at his own inner development and the things that were intriguing him, and he felt he needed to pursue to develop, and how that sort of I don't know how that kind of conflicted with the way he had to present himself to the world around him, and so it kind of describes him of sort of moving through life wearing various masks in various guises and situations. So yeah, a really intriguing biography of Yeats. Then we've got a couple of books about Auden, which I'd really quite like to get to, by Edward Mendelssohn. So we've got early Auden, and then we've got later Auden as well. I've heard really good things about these. I think these were the books that prompted Steve Donahue a while ago to just dive really deeply into Auden, which he found really quite valuable. So yeah, I'd quite like to give them a go. A book I read quite recently, we've got Keats. See, I'm not saying Keats, I'm saying Keats. A Brief Life in 9 Poems and 1 Epitaph by Lucaston Miller. I just read this recently and really quite liked it. and I'd say it's a really good. It'd be a really good introductory volume to Keats if you haven't read much of his poetry, haven't read other biographies, but are, if you're intrigued by him and want to know more and want to encounter those poets and have a friendly voice to sort of guide you through, then I think this is a good place to go, because it's got certain poems there in full, so you're engaging with the poetry, but you're also engaging with the poet. So it's a lot of fun. Then we've got another one I really need to get to. This is a biography of Thomas Hardy by Norman Page. We've got Ariel's Gift by Erica Wagner, which is about Ted Hughes and Sylvia Plath, and Ted Hughes's collection Birthday Letters, which is him talking about his relationship with Sylvia Plath, and so this is sort of delving into those waters. And then we've got Pessoa, An Experimental Life by Richard Zenith. This was a really weird book because in a way there was a lot more than you might expect going on in Pessoa's life. But also reading it, you feel really frustrated because in some ways he is procrastinating quite a lot, it seems. And so there's kind of more going on in his life than you'd expect if you've read the Book of Disquiet. But also you do want him to be actually doing a lot more and actually getting on and actually doing something. Moving more into memoir and general non-fiction, we've got The Diving Bell and the Butterfly by Jean-Dominique Bauby, which I've never read, but it is nice and shiny. Having to contort myself now to get to the books. We've got they're all dying. We've got The Hare with Amber Eyes by Edmund Avar, which I really enjoyed. And then as a kind of companion, I'm just going to twist myself around, hope you don't mind. We've got Letters to Commando, which is a kind of appendix to The Hare with Amber Eyes, which is his own family saga, but then he's going back to someone else's family who are kind of connected to his and making connections. But it's just a really beautiful book, and it's full of these lovely photographs. I'm just trying to find some, because he was an art collector, this guy, Commando, and so he's going through his house, which is now a museum, and certain elements of this house are prompting certain parts of the story. And yeah, he's just a great writer. The way he writes about objects is really lovely. Then we've got some Joan Didion. This is Slouching Towards Bethlehem, which I quite liked. I think she's definitely one of those writers where people enjoy her just because of what she's like on the page. And what she's actually saying can be very good, but it is mainly just the way she writes and the kind of companionship you're getting, I suppose, when you're reading her. Going to try my best not to cause another collapse. We've got My Family and Other Animals by Gerald Durrell, which I haven't read. I'd quite like to read this and also read some more of his brother Lawrence. We've got The Diary of Anne Frank. We've got Girl in a Band by Kim Gordon. She was a member of Sonic Youth, so it's generally just her whole life, but answering this this question that people kept asking her, what's it like to be a girl in a band? And so I suppose in a way she's answering that question and kind of showing how stupid that question is. Then we've got The Midwife's Tale by Nikki Leap and Billy Hunter. I'm going to move some things. Whoops. We have got, again, very happy, Primo Levi, If This Is a Man or the Truce. I'd like to get to these at some point. some Robert Macfarlane, of probably maybe in my top 10 modern writers that I like. This is one I'd like to get to at some point. The Wild Places, I suppose answering the question or exploring the question as to whether there are still any truly wild places left in the British Isles. And then Underland, which is just magnificent. So I might read The Wild Places and then reread Underland because I really quite like that book. Two more to go. We've got In Memory of Memory, which is a kind of, I suppose it's kind of similar to The Hare with Amber Eyes. It's a memoir, a family saga, but it's much more abstract in the way she does it, but kind of brilliant. It's quite hard to describe exactly what kind of book it is, but you get to the end and you feel like, you know, she's kind of tied up all her threads, but she hasn't pulled them as tight as they can go. So there's still some looseness there, and some space. So I'd like to reread this again, and see what it's like the second time round, sort of seeing things in a bit more perspective. But just the writing and the experience of reading this is really amazing. So really love that. And then finally we have got I Am Malala by Malala Yousafzai. Yeah, again, one I haven't got to, but will be good to get to at some point. And there we go. That's more or less all of my non-fiction. There are some, I suppose, some newer acquisitions that are hiding away in other parts of the house. But for the most part, that's it. So we'll make our way back up now. So we'll go to the Penguin Classics, and then on top of the Penguin Classics, we've got some poetry. And so that's where we're heading next. But for now, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.